Welcome back. I'm joined now by Congressman Ted Lieu of California, who sits on the Judiciary Committee and was at that big hearing today, as well as a member of the committee that will obviously be questioning Attorney General Barr next month. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you, Ari.
We'll get to Barr, but let's start with, given that you're on the committee, for folks who didn't watch all of it, we've shown some of the substantive excerpts. What do you think was important that Congress learned and that was put on the record today?
Thank you, Ari, for your question. Let me first say that as a former prosecutor, it's always been clear to me that the only reason we can deprive someone of their freedom and lock them up in prison is based on the consent of the people. And that consent is based on our shared understanding that no one is above the law and that prosecutions are fair and based on the evidence. One of the greatest dangers to democracy is that people start believing that prosecutions are based on politics or based on who the defendant happens to know. And unfortunately, Bill Barr has perverted the Department of Justice, where friends of Donald Trump get special favors no one else could. And what the evidence today showed at the hearing is that Roger Stone got special favors, according to prosecutor Aaron Lislinsky, that no American ever could. He got a reduced sentencing recommendation because Donald Trump went nuts on Twitter after the first sentencing recommendation was made public by the Department of Justice.
Congressman, is that a legal term? He went nuts on Twitter?
That is a legal term, and we've seen it, unfortunately, happen quite a bit with this president.
Let me play, because you bring up Stone and what he was in trouble for. There were things he was convicted of, so a jury of his peers found them to be criminal. And there were other things that directly contradict claims that he and the White House and at the time the Trump campaign had made about what Mueller was investigating, which is how much foreign coordination was there. And even if it didn't rise to the level of a crime, Congress obviously has an interest in protecting against the foreign interference in our free democracy. Take a look at this exchange from today.
There are dozens of calls between Stone and the Trump campaign's top officials, right?
That's correct.
Witnesses also testified that they were present when Stone spoke to then-candidate Trump, right?
Mr. Gates testified to that at trial. Mr. Cohen testified to that for Congress, and Mr. Manafort told that to the special counsel's office.
I always try to be clear and fair, and so I'm emphasizing that Bob Mueller did not charge crimes related to that foreign interaction, in fairness. Stone is a convict for other reasons. But from a policy and democracy view, did you think that exchange and that part of this inquiry is important to your committee, and if so, why?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up that exchange. This is why we even had this hearing. It's because in 2016, the Russians engaged in a sweeping and systematic attack on our elections. Roger Stone coordinated with WikiLeaks, who took the stolen emails that the Russian hackers had from the Hillary Clinton campaign, and then he coordinated with members of the Trump campaign and spoke to Donald Trump himself. And then the Trump campaign used these stolen emails. They based their campaign messaging on it. And Roger Stone was then convicted of multiple crimes. And Bill Barr steps in and lowers the sentence. That is a perversion of justice.
Congressman Lieu, with an inside seat, we appreciate you breaking it down. And obviously, we'll be coming back to you and your colleagues as Mr. Barr does finally have that day of reckoning in your committee, something I've been emphasizing in our reporting. It would appear that some of the pressure was working. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.